Recording. Yes, you can start, Mank.
All right, sir. All right. So very good evening, everyone. Again, from the last presentation, I've taken the feedback. I've moved to the standard format. I've also tried to control the flow of the presentation better. So again, the company which I was allotted was Fin Homes. So, agar if I recall, the very first company which I presented was on Avas as a screening. Uh, so I still recall कि Canfin के metrics I was not able to explain. I was just repeating one thing कि they are best in their class. They are best at what they offer. And again, I had no due diligence on that, no reasons for that. But again, अब एक हफ्ता इस पे research कर लिया and hopefully I would be able to convey कि why Canfin is so special in what it does. And we'll focus ज़्यादा on it business strategy कि ऐसा क्या है उसके इतने metrics as compared to its peers ज़्यादा better क्यों है. Again, अगर आप value picker पे you look for Canfin, तो they have labeled it as a not so hidden gem. So again, in the investor community, ये already काफी popular, काफी already बहुत well research name है. Value Picker had started its research when this company was close to 320 crores. और आज this is close to more than 7,500 crores. So more than 20x bagger. This was the finding of Value Picker when they started their initial coverage. Okay. Also, I would be comparing Canfin to Avas again and again, क्योंकि वही मेरा एक point of reference है. So it will give you some context कि even though थोड़ा they have difference in what they cater to, again हम लोग थोड़ा context लेके चलेंगे. It would be better in explaining a lot of things. Again, आप logo देखिए Canfin का sponsor, it is Canara Bank. So we have learned in NBFCs की parentage कितनी important चीज होती है. Again, NBFCs to pick up capital is so important, so critical to their business model. And again, if you have a good sponsor, things life काफी आसान हो जाती है. This is the case for Canfin as well. All right. Again, starting with know your company. Um, again, Canfin, again promoted by Canara Bank in 1987. This was a HFC, again housing finance company, started in 1987. So, so ये काफी this is interesting that this was the first HFC which was floated by any nationalized bank in our country. So again, Canara Bank के part भी काफी अच्छा visionary part था about how they saw the opportunity, how they saw the massive pie जो कि available है in this market, in this segment. Apart from this, this is actually one of the few HFC जो कि deposits accept कर सकती public से. You can have a FDA at your nearest Canfin branch. Again, National Housing Bank ने इसको approve करा हुआ, and we'll see उसके जो liability mix है. Deposit also play a small part in that. And again, listed in 1991. Again, इसकी अगर timeline their journey अगर देखें तो again they have this year they have crossed 30 crore in their loan book. They have completed 35 years as a company. Again, Canfin ka in general has been a very beautiful journey. Again, they pay dividends as well. They have uh, it is really company to look up to. But again, circumstances काफी change हो गए हैं, and we'll see how even Canfin is faring now. Shareholding pattern की बात करी जाए, again promoter driven company. The promoters of course are is Canara Bank. Other than Canara Bank, अगर कोई बड़ी holding which has in Canfin is Chhattisgarh Limited Investment Limited. ये एक actually non-government holding company है, and it holds close to 6% of stake in Canfin. Again, as I mentioned, ये काफी popular stock है. Again, no open secret. The very pedigree which Canfin brings, the very way it operates, is again an example for other HFCs to follow. और वो again, of course, her asset manager, her everyone wants to have a part of the stock. And again, काफी notable. These are just the mutual funds which have more than 1% stake in the company. Again, थोड़ा significant stake है. Again, there are several others. अगर एक नोटेबल अगेन एफआई की बात करी जाए, अगेन वैनगार्ड का भी जो इंडेक्स फंड है फॉर द इमर्जिंग मार्केट्स, that also has close to 1% stake in Canfin. Uh, Again, geographical presence की बात करी जाए, again Canfin is concentrated towards the south. तो again अगर I forgot to mention, हाँ, तो अगर आप देखें तो very first branch which opened for Canfin was in Bangalore. Again we'll see कि उनका actually अभी still close to 15-20% of the business comes from Bangalore उस region से. Again they have some sort of a concentration risk in that aspect. अभी भी आप देखेंगे तो again Bengaluru accounts for 30 branches out of just 187 branches और कुछ satellite offices जो कि again uh, will be converted into full-fledged branches over time. Again, अगर आप देखें तो these branches are relatively less. कोई भी बैंक, कोई भी HFC देखें, they have very much काफी ज़्यादा branches होती है as compared to Canfin. But again, Canfin again यहाँ पे differ करता है. It is very efficient in the way it operates. So again, in very less branches also, they have close to 150 crore ka business from each of its branches. According to management, they still haven't basically saturated the very opportunities जहाँ पे उन्होंने start करा था. So again, they are still expanding in this southern region. Again, they're looking forward to Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Rajasthan moving towards the north. But again, Telangana is something which again the management is more hopeful about कि वहाँ पे also they'll expand. Again, बहुत limited branches हैं, but again they are very efficient in the way they operate. Uh, Again, इनका जो customer mix होगा, we'll talk in the business strategy, which is the most important part of this presentation. So again, this is the golden secret. This is the secret sauce जो भी है. Again, we'll try to understand कि Canfin ऐसा क्या अलग करता है that it is an example for everyone. So again, सबसे पहला and the most important part is its customer mix. So again, up as an NBFC, what kind of customer you want? You of course want someone who has a good credit history. Credit history to need at least he should have a good credit capabilities. He could pay you back in times of uncertainty, in times of problems. Again, Canfin का अगर आप वो देखेंगे by it has close to 74% of its customer mix as salaried people. And not just salaried people, इसका भी close to 50% are government employees. So again, government employees would be the most stable customer you can always get. वही एक type of customer है which everyone wants. Again, Canfin surprisingly has a very हम लोग इसकी लोन सोर्सिंग पे भी ध्यान देंगे how actually Canfin does it. Again, आवास की अगर आप बात करोगे तो ये exactly पाए रिवर्स हो जाएगी. They have major focus on self-employed. उन्होंने figure out कर दिया कि what kind of profiles they want to pay, they want to lend to. On the other hand, Canfin has really targeted the customer which everyone eyes, and they have been very efficient. Again, एक NBFC आपको it gives you quick credit. कोई problem नहीं आती. Again, very smooth operations. वही Canfin brings to the table, and we'll see उनकी loan sourcing में as well कि how are they able to target government employees as such. अगर आप कस्टमर मिक्स पे और ध्यान देंगे तो वेरी पीपल आर मेजॉरिटी ऑफ देम आर रिलेटिवली यंग. 30-35 ईयर्स की एवरेज एज है. जब फर्स्ट टाइम होम ओनर्स और हम लोग अभी विल सी दी एवरेज टिकट साइज. अगेन इट इज क्लोज टू 24 lakhs. तो अगेन अफोर्डेबल हाउसिंग से ऑफकोर्स ऊपर आता है. बट अगेन अगर आप नोटिस करेंगे, अगर आप जियोग्राफिकल प्रेजेंस पे जाएंगे तो कैंपन ऑपरेट है ना tier 2, tier 3, tier 1 cities. Of course, again it targets people which of course are salaried, relatively lower level salaries जिनकी disposable income close to 20 से 45,000 के बीच में होगी, and they want to become first time homeowners. And again 20-24 lakhs is the stable is the average ticket size for their housing product. Again, आप इनका concentration देखिए, they have nailed what they do, and they are focused on only housing loans. Close to 90% of their book just comprises of housing loans. Again, पूरा retail पे focus है, पूरा housing loans पे. Now this is very interesting कि how does actually Canfin source कैसे करती है अपने loans. तो अगर आप Canfin का रिजेक्शन रेट सुनेंगे तो इट इज 10%. तो अगर 10 लोग दरवाजे के अंदर आए कैंपिन के तो वो 9 लोगों को लोन दे देते हैं. और दिस विल बी वेरी कंट्राडिक्टरी जब हम लोग इनकी एनपीए और जीएनपीए वाली स्लाइड देखेंगे, क्योंकि अगर आप इफ यू आर गिविंग लोन टू एवरीवन हु वॉक्स थ्रू द डोर, अगेन ऑफ कोर्स योर एनपीए शुड बी वेरी हाई, बट ऐसा नहीं होता है। एंड विल सी द रीजन। आई बिलीव इसमें थोड़ा कैंसन इज नॉट वेरी वेरी क्लियर, बट आई विल गिव यू द रीजन। लेकिन अगर आप आवास की कंपैरिजन करेंगे तो आवास टेक्स अ लॉट ऑफ राइट कि वो हर एक चीज पूरी 100% इन हाउस करते हैं, दे आर नॉट डिपेंडेंट ऑन एनीवन। तो अगेन ये मेजर चंक ऑफ पाई क्या है, डीएसए। डीएसए अगेन स्टैंड्स फॉर डायरेक्ट सेलिंग एजेंट्स। बेसिकली ये एजेंट्स हैं जो कि आपको कस्टमर्स लाके आपके दोस्त कैंपन को लाके देते हैं। ना कैंपन यहाँ पे थोड़ा डिफर कर जाता है, क्योंकि ये डीएसए या एजेंसीज का या एजेंट्स का बेसिकली ये काम होता है कि दे डू एवरी सिंगल प्रोसेस एंड दे गेट द थोड़ा स्लाइस ऑफ द पाई जो बचता है। तो दे सोर्स द कस्टमर्स, दे वेट देम, और उनको हर एक एवरी पार्ट ऑफ द प्रोसेस दीज एजेंट्स विल हेल्प यू थ्रू द लोन बुक जब तक आपके पास लोन सैंक्शन नहीं हो जाता और आप प्रीपे करते हैं। अगेन दे आर एट एवरी स्टेप। बट कैंपन में ऐसा नहीं है। कैंपन ओनली हैज कि बस आप कस्टमर डायरेक्ट सेलिंग एजेंट को बस इतना काम है कि वो कस्टमर्स को लेके आए, एक इनिशियल वेट कर लेते हैं उनके ऊपर कि व्हाट काइंड ऑफ वही क्रेडिट हिस्ट्री, व्हाट डू दे फिट देयर कस्टमर मिक्स, एंड देन दे गिव देयर लोन। तो अगेन एक वेरी मैसिव लेयर ऑफ स्क्रीनिंग ऑलरेडी हो चुकी होती है, इस वजह से उनका रिजेक्शन रेट सिर्फ 10% है। अगर आप माइक्रो फाइनेंस का कहीं देखेंगे तो इट वुड बी क्लोज टू 40-50%। बैंक्स और इन जनरल 30-35%, काफी काफी हाई रहता है। तो अगेन रिजेक्शन रेट थोड़ा आई बिलीव थोड़ा कुक्ड है, लेकिन अगेन दिस इज समथिंग विच वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग अबाउट कैंसन। लेकिन उनके फंडिंग मिक्स की अगर बात करें, ऑफ कोर्स यहाँ पे पेरेंटेज काम आती है। विल सी इन द की पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शन एज वेल। अगेन ये जो बैंक्स का जो टर्म लोन थे, दिस ऑल मेजॉरिटी ऑफ कोर्स इट कम्स फ्रॉम कैनरा बैंक, जो अगेन वी टॉक्ड अबाउट द पेरेंटेज। अगेन काफी अच्छा डाइवर्सिफाइड मिक्स है। अगेन वन एस्पेक्ट व्हिच आई वाज नॉट एबल टू थोड़ा डाइजेस्ट इज देयर एक्सपोजर टू कमर्शियल पेपर। लेकिन कमर्शियल पेपर जैसे हम लोगों को पता है इज अ शॉर्ट टर्म is a short term instrument. Uh, Again, commercial paper ka the the idea the management gave was ki again they are very dynamic in their funding mix, and again they take a lot of pride ki they are very versatile in this aspect ki again whenever they see an opportunity they grab it. Again they are seeing ki commercial paper pe they are having better rates. Again banks in general हर जगह से again you are facing credit cost का again आगे बढ़ना. Again they are finding थोड़ा safe haven in commercial paper. Again this would be very interesting to see कहाँ जाता है. Again this again no analyst I believe had any major issue with it, so I think I would be missing something, but again this is the funding mix. Or again we mentioned कि deposit taking NBFC है, but again it just counts for 2% in the funding mix. पीसीआर की बात कर लेते हैं. दिस इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अगर आप उनकी लास्ट दो कॉन कॉल सुनेंगे तो क्लोज टू 30-33% डिस्कशन इज अराउंड इनके प्रोविजनिंग. सो हम लोग ऑफ कोर्स विल सी कैंपेन का इन एनपीएस एंड एसेट क्वालिटी. तो रिसेंटली कैंपेन मूव फ्रॉम आईआरएसी टू ईसीएल. ईसीएल तो स्टैंडर्ड है, एवरी हम लोगों ने देखा ही होगा. अगेन एक्सपेक्टेड क्रेडिट लॉस. अगेन दिस इज द स्टैंडर्ड व्हिच इज बीइंग फॉलोड बाय एवरी कंपनी. आप अगर कभी की ऑडिट इश्यूज देखोगे तो बहुत चांस है कि ईसीएल की प्रोविजनिंग ही होगी, बिकॉज अगेन इट इज कॉम्प्लेक्स, थोड़ा नॉट इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड. तो आईआरएसी मॉडल दे यूज टू फॉलो. So this is income recognition and asset classification. Basically इस मॉडल से they shifted to ECL. अब ECL as compared to IRAC is more conservative, ज़्यादा cushion provide करता है आपके provisions को. तो अगेन आपको provision ज़्यादा करना पड़ेगा. अगर हम लोग अगेन उनके एसेट क्वालिटी, अगेन दिस इज द एनबीएफसी सेक्टर, वो आरबीआई के नॉर्म्स ऑफ कोर्स अफेक्टेड कैंपेन एज वेल. तो अगेन उनके पीसीआर की बात करें तो अगेन इट ड्रॉप. अगेन ये ड्रॉप इन प्रोविजन कुड बी अगेन इंक्रीज इन जीएनपीए की वजह से. अगेन दे बाउंस बैक क्योंकि अगेन दे इंक्रीज देयर प्रोविजन, दे शिफ्टेड टू ईसीएल. अगेन दे आर प्रोविजन, दे आर होल्डिंग decent cushion on their books, जो कि अगेन they have been very assuring of कि everything is under control. Again, Canfin is very efficient the way it operates. उनकी asset quality पे talk. Again, promoter और board की बात करते हैं. तो अगर आप पिछले 4-5 साल में जो कैंपन की प्रोग्रेस है, तो गिरीश जी हैज बीन द कॉर्नर स्टोर अगेन अंडर अंडर हिम। कैंपन बहुत ही रिकग्नाइज ब्रांड बना है। अगेन अगर आप लोन बुक भी देखेंगे, इट ग्रो एक्सपोनेंशियली, काफी काफी अच्छा Hansen performed under Giresh's leadership. But again, a big change at top आ चुका है। Again, Giresh left for a better opportunity at PNB Housing, जिनकी अगर आप लोन बुक देखोगे would be the twice of what Canfin currently holds. Close to 60,000 crore की लोन बुक है, Canfin की 30,000 की। अगर आप उनकी कॉन कॉल्स और वो देखेंगे तो ऑफ कोर्स ये जो एम्प्टी सीट थी, इस पे यू वुडंट फाइंड एनी नेम, बट वी डू हैव अ नेम एट दिस पोजीशन, which is Shri again Suresh Iyer ji. Again, अब न्यू सीईओ की भी बात कर लेते हैं। अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो अगेन the company, the management in general wanted कि they wanted someone from the private industry, they wanted someone from a private group, private company. तो अगेन सुरेश अय्यर जी इज एसोसिएटेड विद ग्रू फाइनेंस। तो उन्होंने ही हैज गिवन हिज लास्ट 25 years टू ग्रू फाइनेंस। वहाँ पे अगेन उनका अगर आप देखेंगे कि ऑन व्हाट सेक्टर ही वर्क, ऑफ कोर्स he worked at high levels and he worked across domains. So again, he has a very versatile, very dynamic knowledge of everything. It would be very interesting to see change in position. Again, this is very आप देख लीजिए, इफेक्ट क्लोज टू 13th of March। अगेन क्वार्टर 3 के रिजल्ट्स वर डिक्लेयर्ड वे बिफोर, है ना। तो अगेन न्यू पोजीशन, न्यू चेंज एट द टॉप। अदर देन दैट, की एग्जीक्यूटिव्स में भी चेंज आया है। CRO, CFO, all these massive, very important C-suite positions have faced change. So again, इस पे I'll comment later. अगेन बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर की बात करें, ऑफ कोर्स प्रमोटर हैवी है, 3 seats आई बिलीव। अगेन दिस वाज at the time when of course Girish ji was leaving, they had a seat empty. थोड़ा change in board of director हुआ था। I just visited the Canfin's website, so again वहाँ पे of course this has completely changed. This is from the annual report. So again, one of the most one of the most impressive boards I've seen among Awas and Manapurna. So again, talking about again Satish Kaldaji. Again, he was a former MD and CEO of Andhra Bank. Again, अभी वो डायरेक्टर हैं इंडिपेंडेंट। अगेन शुभ लक्ष्मी जी के बारे में बात करें, अगेन शी वाज अ फॉर्मर एंड MD, फॉर्मर चेयरमैन एंड MD ऑफ अलाहाबाद बैंक। अगेन अमिताभ चैटर्जी के बारे में बात करें, ही इज अ इंटरनल अगेन प्रमोटर। वेल, he has been internal, he has been part of the Canara Bank. Again, he used to head one of the most prolific branches, one of the most prolific heads of Canara Bank. Again, again, I haven't updated on the executives in general, because again they are going under change, and it would be interesting to see where the management goes. Talking about forensics again, very clean forensics. Again, whatever reasons, whatever marks or whatever marks they have lost, again uh, uh, they aren't of as much attention or as much gravity, I believe. Again, but we'll have to discuss key what were the issues. Again, पहला promoters के नंतर again, it is 30%. We discuss Canara Bank की holding. Canara Bank का disinvestment, Canara Bank uh, uh, stake selling की भी काफी बात। This is a very popular question which was asked in the last two con calls, or is a matter of concern. But again, management said that Canara Bank के लिए Canfin is a very important uh, uh, integral part of its family. Again, they don't see any stake change happening, any stake sale happening. So again, we should stay assured. Again, Canara Bank again बहुत बड़ा बैंक है। So again, the very promoters in the game doesn't play well. So again, I have given a 0. Again, Government of India, again a 0 here. Again, auditors, this was something which I thoda struggled with. So again, they have a joint statutory auditors. Again, though auditors, again, I was not able to find much about them on the website. Again, they did not disclose their clients. Whatever companies I was able to find, which they audit as well, were of relatively small size. But again, I believe Canfin है, तो again it is a 7,000 crore company. Again, I have flagged this. as a precautionary measure. KPTs की party related transaction की बात करी जाए, again it is 80%. Again I had mentioned कि वही term loans में of course Canara Bank comes into the picture, वही parentage काम आता है. अगर आप उसको हटाएंगे, again still थोड़ा significant part of their total RPT still comprised of other transaction. Again, this could be a relatively as again precautionary measure. I did not find anything very out of the ordinary. So again, flagged it as a zero. And yeah, of course, we'll talk Canada Bank, Canada Bank is subsidiary, which is Can Bank Computer Services. Again, for IT support, Canfin deals with them. Again, I've flagged it as a zero as part of key party transaction. But again, I don't feel itni gravity hai in pointers mein, and in these pointers. Again, a very good score, a very good score for Canfin. All right, moving with key metrics. Again, we understood कि वही product mix इतना unique है, they're targeting the best customer, और अब reflect होगा in the key metrics as well. Again, starting with AUM, again I talked about how they crossed 30 crore ka milestone in this in this quarter. Again, management will look into the future outlook. They are guiding 18 to 20% AUM year-on-year growth. Again, it would be interesting to see where Camden goes. Again, a very strong player. Again, we'll compare in its peers as well, how it fares. हाँ, तो GNPS and NPS की बात करें, again this chart again doesn't do justice to it, but again अगर आप still quantum of numbers को देखेंगे तो you'll find them these are very surprising, uh, very interesting. तो अगर आप देखिए इनके GNPAs GNPAs और NPS these are very low numbers. Companies के NNPS इसके GNPS से ज़्यादा होते हैं in the very same sector, in the very same affordable housing. So again, हम लोग ने mention करा था about how they focus on asset quality, how they focus on their customer mix. All these pays dividend. Again, उनकी इतनी prudent underwriting रहती है कि they set an example for other NBFCs to follow in their efficient way. ROA और ROE की बात करें तो again this is a very interesting aspect. Girish used to say explaining Canfin business कि ये leverage business है, एक leverage business है. This is something he used to again keep on saying. I believe उनकी this shows in their metrics. तो अगर आप अगर financial leverage check करेंगे तो again this is touching close to 8, close to 7 in terms of financial leverage. They are very highly leveraged. Again, this is a reason of concern because again there are norms controlling their leverage as well. So again, हो सकता है it is possible in the upcoming 2 to 3 years again to manage this very high leverage, high financial leverage. उनको capital raise करना पड़ेगा to again to bring down the DER ratio. But again, very efficient in the way it operates. ROAs or ROEs we'll see in the peer comparison how they fare as well. And lastly, this is again spread or NIM. As I mentioned, Canfin again, Canara Bank, parentage. In general, it is strong underwriting. It's the clean books. Everything actually pays dividends. So यहाँ पे दिखेगा again. They are able to borrow funds at a very low rate. They are able to borrow funds according to the last quarter at just 6.6%. और again वो they lended out at 8.8%. वही आपका spread आ जाता है. Again, other expense or again interest को count करके again they have their net interest income. So this is very important. We'll talk about how management looks towards this. उनका क्या outlook है इसमें? One thing which I really loved about Canfin was that ROE is something which again analysts we are of course obsessed about. These are profitability measures. But उन्होंने एक चीज mention करी थी about how they focus on these three things. They'll focus on that they're lending at a modest at 18-20% rate. They'll focus on their asset quality. They'll focus on what kind of uh, they're uh, uh, they're actually again giving their customers the benefit. They're maintaining a very stable spread, or unko their customers ko they are benefiting. So again, if they control these three things, automatically ये fall in place हो जाएगा. This is not something which is a matter of issue. Again, they were very confident कि again they could change these spreads, they could change liability mix. Again, they could very easily change these dynamic factors. तो ये सुन के काफी अच्छा लगा था that they are so confident in running their business. Peer comparison की बात करते हैं. Again, I haven't taken massive giants in this company because again, Canfin का अगर अभी हम लोग आउटलुक देखेंगे तो अगेन इट इज वेरी कंजर्वेटिव. एक शब्द अगर कैंफिन के साथ अभी जोड़ना चाहूंगा तो वुड बी कंजर्वेटिव एंड वील सी व्हाई. So again, Canfin has again these are in crores has again touched 30,000 crores. Avas, Aptus, or Home First again they deal in a very relatively similar level. Again, affordable housing के players हैं, and they are very aggressive in what how they're going about their business. Again, उनकी loan book अभी के लिए again Canfin stand out. It is a massive player. It is a big player compared to these upcoming players. Again, GNPS and NPS में आप देखिए the lowest is of Canfin. Again, multiple times ज़्यादा है बाकी players की. Again, the very same business they are doing. Avas उसका सबसे closest again competitor, 3 times the NPA, double times the GNPA. This is the type of prudent underwriting. This is type of customer mix जो सारी Canfin brings to the table. They are very action उनका cost to equity is close to 16-17%. Again, कम branches खोलते हैं, but they do justice to that. Uh, uh, they bring their best practices wherever they go. अगेन ROA की बात करी जाए, अगेन ROAs आर रिलेटिवली स्टेबल, इसी लेवल पे रहे, बट अगेन CD लेवरेज की वजह से दे रिटर्न वेरी वेल ऑन देयर इक्विटी on their equity side as compared to other players. इनके ROA is better, Aptus का ROA again, but they aren't leveraged. They haven't been able to take the benefit of the good parentage, the good credit ratings, the very strong track record which Canfin is leveraging, and over time, of course, उनकी loan book grow करेगी, this will also benefit her. Price to book ratio की बात करें, I think Canfin recently has been in the news for numerous reasons. Of course, top management will discuss a couple of pointers as well. Again, it's trading at a relatively modest discount. अगर उसके आप historical averages से भी देखेंगे, again Canfin is trading at a discount. But again, I apologize. I've taken these figures from screener, so again I'll cross check them. But again, as compared to Avas, Aptus, and Home First, again these companies are priced to are valued very heavily because again, वही जो market opportunity, markets are forward looking, so markets look up to these companies. They are in a very lucrative space. Again, Canfin has had some couple of events which we'll discuss in their outlook in the thesis as well. But again, relative to these three players, बहुत ही modestly valued है Canfin. फ्यूचर आउटलुक की बात करें, मेजॉरिटी ऑफ इट वुड बी व्हाट मैनेजमेंट हैज बीन मैनेजमेंट की कमेंट्री, व्हाट मैनेजमेंट वांट्स द कंपनी टू डू. अगेन एएम का गाइडेंस उन्होंने दिया है 18 to 20% ईयर ऑन ईयर बेसिस. They believe they would be able to sustain it at even if their loan book grows to a very high level. This is something which they believe in. This is very interesting. They have mentioned that they'll maintain their spreads at close to 2.4% and 3.5% over the long term. और अभी भी अगर आप उनके spreads देखें तो बहुत ही इसी बॉल पार्क में है. वन वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग है कि अभी अगर आप कैंफिन की बुक्स देखेंगे तो 72% ऑफ इट हैजंट बीन रीप्राइस. मतलब कि जो भी चेंजेस इन देयर बेसिस पॉइंट्स या फिर उन्होंने जब कॉस्ट ऑफ लेंडिंग फॉर incremental lending बढ़ाई थी, तो again this hasn't been shown on their books, so close to 72% of their book hasn't been repriced. अगेन इसका एक साल का रीसेट होता है, तो अगर आपने अभी कैंफिन से लोन लिया है तो एक साल बाद आपका रीसेट दोबारा होगा टू अकॉर्डिंग टू दी मार्केट कंडीशंस. अगेन ओवर टाइम अभी दे आर थोड़ा एक्सपीरियंसिंग दी स्ट्रेस, क्योंकि ऑन देयर कॉस्ट ऑफ बोरोइंग साइड वहां से तो लेंडिंग का कॉस्ट बढ़ गया है, बट दे हैवंट बीन एबल टू इफेक्टिवली पास ऑन टू देयर कस्टमर्स एज वेल. अगेन बहुत कॉम्पिटिटिव सर्विस है, दैट इज ऑल्सो अ चैलेंज. बट अगेन अगर आप इसका थोड़ा वाइस वर्सा करके सोचेंगे तो व्हेन दिस इंटरेस्ट साइकिल थोड़ी डाउन होगी, थोड़ी इजी होगी, then of course cancel would stand to gain because again उनके yields ज़्यादा होंगे और cost कम होती जाएगी. Again अभी के लिए they are absorbing some pressure. This is the management outlook for the long term. I mean, this is something which they were they were pressing a lot. I mean, this was something, again, any question related to this is what they were answering with. I believe this is very important. अगेन आईटी में ऑफ कोर्स कैनफिन भी इन्वेस्ट कर रहा है. दे हैव प्लान्ड क्लोज टू 2 बिलियन रुपीस, जो कि कम्स टू 200 करोड़ रुपए. The time horizon they have given is 7 years. Again, of course, this is the need of the hour, and of course, they are investing in IT as well. Um, Apart from that, again, they are staying on the course. Whatever they had said, ki they are very conservative in their branch opening and scaling their business. Okay, 10 to 15 branches है. Recently, they had faced pressures, so again, उनकी branches बंद हुई थी. They reopened. Again, this target hasn't been hit इस साल के लिए, but again, they are very optimistic कि again, as they venture into new states, as they capitalize, थोड़ा saturate करते हैं the already existing position, they're confident कि again उनका relatively small business है, but again, they'll bring best practices जहाँ जाएंगे. अब अगेन आई बिल्ड अप कैंपेन. थोड़ा अब थोड़ा ब्रेक डाउन करने का टाइम आ गया है. तो अगेन एंटीथीसिस की बात करते हैं. ऑफ कोर्स मैनेजमेंट चेंज. एक बहुत ही शॉकिंग फैक्ट था, क्योंकि मैंने गिरीश जी का इंटरव्यू देखा. उन्होंने बहुत प्राउडली ये बोला था कि कैंपेन अगेन अगेन ही हैड बीन एट दैट टाइम क्लोज टू 4 से 5 साल ही हैड स्टेड एट कैंपेन. अगेन ही मेंशन्ड अबाउट हाउ उनके जो डायरेक्ट रिपोर्टर्स हैं, दे हैव स्टेड इन द कंपनी फॉर 30 years एंड 25 years. Again, they have with Canton since since the since the sun went up. But again, मैंने एक इक्विटी रिपोर्ट पढ़ी एंड वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग फिगर कि एमडी का टेन्योर है एट कैंपन इज लेस देन 2 years. तो हर 2 साल में एमडी ही चेंज होता रहता है. ऑन द अदर हैंड, again we saw कि top person, the very CEO Suresh अय्यर जी अब आ रहे हैं, would be the new CEO, CFO, CRO सब चेंज हो रहा है. Again, management plays a very critical role, but again, from my outlook, the very company is so on a back foot. You know, already NIM already spread aside kar diya. I don't think management be uh, would play a very massive role. But again, the very reasons, अगर आप देखेंगे जब क्रेशिया ने छोड़ा था, were very sketchy. तो अगर आप वैल्यू पिकर देखेंगे तो उसमें वहां पे they were trying to insinuate something जो कि of course वैसा कुछ था नहीं. तो अगेन कैंसन हैड थोड़ा टाइम बैक हैड अ फ्रॉड इन देयर लोकल ब्रांचेस क्लोज टू 3-4 करोड़ का, मतलब लोकल ब्रांच का फ्रॉड था. एंड इट वाज ब्रॉट इनटू लाइमलाइट. अगेन कोई मैसिव चीज नहीं थी, अगेन ब्रांच स्पेसिफिक था, कोई इंटरनल या फिर मेजर हैबिट नहीं हुई थी. एंड वेरी उसके काफी रिसेंटली टेन्योर के बाद गिरीश जी हैड रिजाइंड एंड मूव टू पीएनबी. तो अगेन थोड़ी स्टोरी बनाने में पीपल लव दैट. इंसिनेट करने की काफी कोशिश करी, बट आई डोंट थिंक उसमें कुछ था. बट अगेन the very timing, the very things which were happening, काफी थोड़ी इन्वेस्टर्स के लिए थोड़ी तो वरिंग थी. Late to the IT party. Again, we saw अभी बहुत they are moving in the right direction. On a 200 crore again, they have put forward to invest in 7 years. Again, only they mentioned this. कोई भी उनके they had no plan whatsoever. अगर मैं आवास की बात करूं, आवास already has invested. उन्होंने already उन्होंने ऑलरेडी सारे ओपेक्स पे आर&डी के सारे कॉस्ट झेल रहे हैं वो. एंड दे एक्चुअली इनवाइटेड एनालिस्ट टू एक्चुअली कम एंड सी कि आप आवास में आके देखिए द चेंजेस व्हिच वी हैव डन. वी हैव ब्रॉट इन मैसिव प्लेयर्स, वी ब्रॉट इन ऑरेकल, वी ब्रॉट इन सेल्सफोर्स. ऐसे मैसिव प्लेयर्स को दे आर ब्रॉट इन एंड दे आर वेरी वेल पोजिशन्ड नाउ. Again, the thing which they mentioned was 200 crores, 7 years ka time frame, no details whatsoever. Again, this is something which is, again, this will pay dividends in the long run, but again, thoda late ho gaya, I believe, Canfin and able to capitalize on the IT front. Of course, balance transfer के pressures are nothing new in the housing finance industry. Close to 100 crore per month का BT out है, मतलब कि इनकी लोन बुक उससे कम होती है. Again, कैंसन एक्चुअली काफी अच्छा पोजीशन है, बिकॉज अगेन उसका कॉस्ट ऑफ बोरोइंग, कॉस्ट ऑफ इंक्रीमेंटल यील्ड काफी काफी कम रहती है. तो व्हाट हैपेंस, बैंक आके इनके कस्टमर लेते हैं और ये जाके दूसरे एचडीएफसी के कस्टमर ले लेते हैं. Basically, this happens behind the scenes, but again, BT pressures of course are happening. इतनी competitive space है. On the other hand, they have such conservative outlook. Again, this is not going well. I don't think I think they have sort of again गिरीश को पूछा गया था कि अगेन कैनरा बैंक है, प्रमोटर है, पीएसयू है, एंड दे मेंशन कि नहीं, दिस इज अ वेरी वेल ऑपरेटिंग पीएस प्राइवेट कंपनी की तरह है. ऑफ कोर्स उनकी आप एसेट क्वालिटी और बाकी सारे ऑपरेशंस देखें, दे आर वेरी एफिशिएंट, उनके कॉस्ट टू इनकम देखिए सब कुछ. बट अगेन आई फील थोड़ा चेंज ऑफ the very fire, the very intent is missing in the company currently. Management change है, काफी सारे pressures I believe again काफी uh, the very pricing 2.2 price book value I think अभी justified है थोड़ा campaign again the very star it was poised to be थोड़ा promise uh, I believe थोड़ा अधूरा रह गया again we'll see कि कैसा होता है again if they are able to maintain what they said they are able to hit their AM targets they are able to very effectively manage their NIM um, or split so again this is a very profitable business they know what they are doing but again वो थोड़ा intent to eat others market share to perform well वो that is missing in my opinion yeah I'll conclude with this yeah.
Wow, good presentation, solid work. I think your delivery has been much clearer and very efficient, and also your storytelling is very good. I mean, I really enjoyed the entire journey which you took us through the Canfin part. uh, the way you can up your game now is in many places you had been comparing Canfin with various companies, right? So I remember this place where the loan book mix, I mean, the salaried versus non-salaried or self-income. There you were mentioning Avas, Aptus, and all. It would be great to see their charts over there because, say, somebody who did not see them, they would probably want to see what it was, and that might distract that viewer, and he might go somewhere else and try to find those things out, right? To make sure that you're telling the right thing or something. So maybe those smaller pie charts could be present over there, which will supplement your story. I think that would be very nice. Um, One thing that was also you could add is the board of directors there. I mean, you had the director thing, but you also mentioned a lot of things. And as we discussed last time, was many people will read through your slide, right? For them, if you could squeeze in at least what you said. I mean, they were they were coming from various banks. I mean, PSU banks, they were heading those
Correct.
banks. Maybe if you add that line, I know it's very hard and very tight to put it over there, basically because you took a screenshot. But over here, your ingenuity, however you could do it, that would have been great. Another thing, last thing, this is funny, but you have been saying again quite a lot of time during the presentation. Maybe, I don't know if you have heard yourself, but look at this video, right? This is where you might improve because later on when you give a presentation, right, it would be very nice if you can see that there are some repetitive pattern which we tend to give. I also have some patterns like that. Maybe you guys will notice that, but I'm just giving you a hint that you have been using again quite a lot of time. Maybe you can look into that. Shantanu does the same thing. He does etc. I mean, I noticed that he was saying etc. quite a lot of time. So yeah, that's like minor feedback. Yeah. Okay. Nirvan.
Yeah. So, Mayank, first of all, great presentation. I mean, you've implemented the feedback from the last presentation beautifully here. One skill that you possess naturally is the ability to tell stories in your own way, right? And this is something that Shantanu, Kunal, Rishikesh, and Bhavna has dropped out, but I would urge you guys to sort of learn from Mayank's presentations, uh, where he follows the template, but at the same time you will see that he brings in certain metrics which we haven't asked for, but which he believes is an important part of telling the correct story, right? So that basically comes from spending time and researching. Like, he made it very clear that he went through the value picker thread. It's a giant thread, 1600 posts, so I don't think you went through the whole thing, but I think you made that effort, right? So this is one thing that I would urge all the rest of you guys to sort of start picking up from Mayank's presentations, how to tell stories. Yeah. So I think this is a very good skill you have, Mayank. So keep it up. In the last presentation, while telling the story, sometimes you were getting carried away, which was the feedback कि तुम अलग loops में घुस रहे थे. You did that very well here. You kept you were focused on taking the story forward, and you were not getting distracted here or there. Yeah. And apart from mentioning again multiple times, everything else was perfect. So usko thoda dhyan rakhna, because it becomes a little distracting for the person who's hearing. Now, one question that I have, you don't have to answer it right now, I'll anyway put it in feedback, is that since Canara Bank is one of the prime lenders to Canfin, could it be that they are giving loans at preferential rates to Canfin, which is causing their cost of funds to be really low? Yeah, that is one thing that came to my mind. So
Mhm.
maybe benchmark their interest rates against the interest rates charged by other banks which are giving funds to Canfin. Yeah, because if that is the case, then Canara Bank is sort of suffering and
Mhm.
making life easier for Canfin. Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, man, go ahead.
so what I saw that again they didn't disclose their very bank specific वो, but again they
Hmm.
mentioned कि again bank rates are वहाँ से cost of borrowing increase हो रहा है, so they shifted to commercial paper. Again वही I'll थोड़ा look deeper into कि Canada से कितना है.
Yeah, because Mayank, what you can do is just एक काम करना, जो एनबीएफसी का अपना जो डेटाबेस है ना,
हम्म
उसमें तुम कॉस्ट ऑफ फंड्स वाले कॉलम पे जाके देखना कि 6.6 के नीचे कोई है कि नहीं. आई थिंक दिस इज द बेस्ट कॉस्ट ऑफ बोरोइंग इन द इंडस्ट्री.
हम्म
ठीक है. बजाज फाइनेंस फाइनेंस भी 7-8% पे है. तो
हम्म
हाउ आर दे डूइंग इट? क्या चल रहा है? बैंक तो नहीं है वो, डिपॉजिट्स तो सिर्फ 2% है.
हम्म
तो हो कैसे रहा है इतना कम? वन थिंग आई सस्पेक्ट इज कैनरा बैंक कुछ कर रहा होगा. एंड बीपी पे तुम्हें इस पे कुछ मिलेगा, तुम देखना. अगर इफ यू कैन, ऑब्वियसली 1600 पोस्ट पढ़ने मुश्किल है,
नहीं
बट इफ यू कैन.
I had summarized उसका तो again तो वो I had read that वो close to 100 था.
Yeah. So try to use a keyword cost of funds or something and try to figure out. Second is, देखो इतना सब अच्छा underwriting करने के बाद their ROA numbers are pretty low, right? 2% ROAs.
हम्म
So ultimately, a finance company is judged on its ROA, right? Because ROE तो आप कितना भी leverage लेके बढ़ा लोगे, right?
हम्म
What you're judged on, how much ROA are you able to deliver, right? So I have included one suggestion of doing an ROA tree analysis comparison for Canfin with maybe one or two of the three companies that you've benchmarked it against. ठीक
हम्म
है? हाँ बोलो.
सर आई थिंक उसका वही रीजन होगा बिकॉज अगेन उनके स्प्रेड बहुत कम है. अगर आप आवाज को
Hmm.
देखोगे उनके 5 to 6% स्प्रेड है. कुछ कंपनीज के इवन 8-9 बहुत मैसिव स्प्रेड है. तो अगेन
Exactly.
वो वही दे आर competing with banks, they are competing with other HFCs. अगेन आई मेंशन वो बैलेंस ट्रांसफर में तो उसकी
Right.
वजह से होगा ROA 1. अगेन just sticking to what has worked for them. So
Right.
yeah, but I'll do that as well.
Yeah, no, I suspect that's the right answer, Mayank. But maybe you want to, anyway
Mm-hmm.
do it and just see कि कौन से जैसे cost to income में I think Canfin will be lowest.
Mm-hmm.
But in on the other hand, your like you said, NIMS, it'll be one of the lowest again. So just do it. It'll also be an interesting slide. एक slide में तुम housing finance industry के चार companies को compare करके on the important parameters you can see who has relative advantage where. Yeah. So I think anyway this will be a worthwhile exercise to do. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe do this. And another thing, you also noticed this in the presentation, you mentioned it, but you didn't present the data. Whenever a finance company has such high leverage, na 8x, 9x,
Mm-hmm.
the automatically quick thing to check is capital adequacy ratio kaisa hai,
Mm-hmm.
right? So along with the leverage, when you're comparing, because you're also, because I said that in your story you include graphs which we haven't, one graph you which we haven't asked you to, but it's important to the story. One graph that is important to this story is how does the CRAR ratio compare among the four peers. Yeah. तो अगर इनका कैपिटल एडिक्वेसी बहुत कम है तो दे मे नीड टू डाइल्यूट सून. ठीक है. अगर डाइल्यूशन होगा तो फिर उनका बुक वैल्यू और डाइल्यूट हो जाएगा, प्राइस टू बुक एक्सपेंसिव हो जाएगा थोड़ा सा,
Mm-hmm.
राइट? सो दैट इज अनदर थिंग, वो थोड़ा चेक करो. बट एंड वन थिंग यू डिड नॉट कवर इज क्राइसिस में इनका परफॉर्मेंस.
Correct, sir. So this was something where I was running short on time. Again, I
या
did thoda due diligence on this. Again, relatively काफी stable right, campaign in general because again वही on the underwriting is strong right. But I'll include that in the updated deck as well.
Yeah. So there's, I mean, don't spend more than 2.5 hours on implementing this whole further research and feedback because the story has come out pretty nicely. Okay, you've covered the antithesis also. So if you can include these two, three aspects, I think this presentation is one which उसको हम थोड़ा editing ठीक करके we can like properly publish it on the website and maybe share it on Twitter as well. Yeah, because the story comes out pretty nicely. Yeah. So you can think of sort of adding these two, three
Mm.
aspects.
Correct. So ROA take analysis and capital adequacy ratio.
Yeah, I'll capture all of, and whether Canara Bank is giving any
Great.
preferential treatment or not. So there are one or two more points. I'll send you a written feedback.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank
Thank you so much, Mayank.
thank you, sir.
I had one question, one last question. I mean, do we need to compare Canfin with HDFC by any chance?
I mean, why not?
Yeah, because
It's
because I think comparing it with s- uh, these affordable housing companies like Avas Aptus may not be the right approach because of the parentage that you see in Canfin. We
mm,
might see some similarity over there,
Mhm.
and also, yeah, something.
That's interesting because, on the one hand, I think NIMs for HDFC will be much closer to Canfin,
Hmm,
but on the other hand, the AUM will be probably, 10 times higher.
correct.
So there is some similarity, there is some dissimilarity. So I think Mayank may not be a bad idea if you're comparing with three other firms. You can might as well add HDFC in the mix, or maybe drop one of the three and add HDFC instead. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so basically, Gaurav, that will become sort of a snapshot of the housing finance comparison. So
Hmm, hmm,
that's
hmm.
why I want Mayank to spend a little bit more time in doing that ROA tree analysis
Yeah,
of the
makes sense. Makes sense.
four
Makes sense.
companies. Yeah.
A general question on housing finance, since we covered so many companies, like there are three types of housing finance. One is who's giving the housing finance to low income groups, right? Then there's the one who gives to retail, so basically out salaried and self income group. Are there any companies who give to say these builders, apartment makers, and all? Or
Yeah. So, for example, Piramal is one company, PEL,
Mhm,
Piramal
mhm.
Enterprises, which gives loans to the real estate companies for building the houses.
Right, right,
So they
right,
are on the supply side of the market. And
right.
and the companies which have gone bankrupt, like Diwan Housing, used
Mm,
to, I think, lend on both sides, on the supply and the demand side. So, from what I've seen, companies the companies most badly affected during ILFS were these real estate funding financing companies. So
right.
companies like Piramal, etc. So there's very little appetite to analyze these kind of companies because they
Mm,
are still struggling with NPAs and credit costs. I am
mm.
the unfortunate owner of a little bit of Piramal Enterprises, and they are still writing off huge assets. So they haven't been able to clean their books in 5 years.
Got
So
it.
that is the part of, because that's where after that crisis is when the whole industry started talking about granular loans, don't have exposure to single accounts where 10% of AUM is one account. That's where the entire push towards retail came, because those guys tanked so badly that the entire industry started chasing granularity
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
to diversify risk, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. I asked it because I wanted to know who's catering to this sector. Because if any of these are catering, then it's a red flag
No, no,
or
they are
something
not.
to be cautious about.
No,
Yeah.
these guys are not. I think in the 20 companies that I had initially shortlisted, Gaurav, I had intentionally kept out anybody who was sort of exposed heavily to the real estate
Hmm.
companies.
And now I think for the real estate part, at least for commercial buildings, REITs makes the most sense.
Yeah, REITs are an option. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. All right.
right.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, thank you again, Mayank and Rishikesh. And tomorrow we are hearing from Shantanu.